Netflix has a new sci-fi movie for us, iBoy. Is it as ridiculous as its title? We're going to discuss that and all the week's sci-fi news today on Sci-Fi Weekly.
Welcome to Popcorn Talk, featuring movie discussion, news, and interviews. Popcorn Talk. We talk movies. And now, here's Popcorn Talk's Sci-Fi Weekly.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Popcorn Talk. I'm your host, Zach Wilson. We're going to discuss all the sci-fi news with you. And all the, it's weekly, so we're back weekly.
Yep.
As I stumble through another intro.
You figured it out.
Unless we get canceled because you're so unprofessional.
Look, there's a lot of stuff going on in the world that I'm going to use as an excuse for why I botched this opening.
Oh, that's the best thing for stuff.
Yeah, that's nice.
Thank you so much for joining us, guys. If you haven't done so already, you can follow Sci-Fi Weekly on Twitter and Facebook at Sci-Fi Weekly, or the Popcorn Talk at The Popcorn Talk on Twitter and Popcorn Talk Network on YouTube. Be sure to subscribe, like, find us on iTunes, all those places. You can find me on Twitter at @ZachWilson. And gotta introduce the panel, and I have to especially introduce the panel because we have a new drum roll, a new panelist joining us.
Yeah, nice.
I conjured Hayley O'Connor.
Great. Hey, everyone. I'm Hayley O'Connor. I was here a couple of weeks ago when we discussed Passengers, and I'm really glad to be back and talking about sci-fi with these two nerds. You can find me on Twitter at Hayley O'Connor, and that is Hayley with two Y's. If you don't use two Y's, you're not too wise.
Whoa.
Yeah, you get used to hearing that lame line that I stole from my dad.
Hayley, not just a guest anymore, but she's going to be joining us on the panel going forward.
Welcome.
It's going to be fun.
Thank you.
And Jesse Klein, back as always.
Hey, how's it
rock,
going?
except when he's sick.
Except when I'm sick, and then I am not a rock, I am tofu. How's it going, everyone? Super excited to talk about iBoy. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at JessKlein1. That's JessKlein, the number 1. If you don't use two S's in JESS, then you are not too wise.
All right.
Damn it.
Glad I went first.
Yeah, iBoy was an interesting movie.
Yeah.
I have thoughts and opinions.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot to say about it. Here, I can take Gizmo.
Gizmo can't be
our little
trusted.
toy Gizmo.
It's a little top heavy.
Yeah, he's falling over.
Losing his motivation.
So we're going to lean him up against the book stack.
Yeah.
People who just listen to this, like, I don't know what you're talking about. There's a lot of toys on the desk, guys. A lot of toys. But we're going to talk all about iBoy, our thoughts on the cast, the writing, the science of it.
Great science.
Yeah.
Foolproof.
But first, we got to talk about this week's sci-fi news in our Ludicrous Speed segment. Hit it!
Ludicrous Speed! Go!
Michael Dougherty, who you may know as the director of Trick or Treat and Krampus, is now not only going to be writing Godzilla 2, but he's also set to direct this mega-sized movie. What the story will be is still unannounced, but he'll be tasked with setting up the upcoming brawler movie, Godzilla vs. King Kong, which got its official name this week. We didn't know what it was going to be called. There's a lot of mystery. It's going to be called Godzilla vs. Kong. Yeah, well, Brent from WB's marketing department was really proud, so don't laugh at his hard work.
Yeah, I mean, they committed regicide. They got rid of that king. Shout out to all my regicide fans out there. As Legion nears its air date, Fox has announced that it's developing an original X-Men show with showrunner Matt Nix, and they got Bryan Singer to actually direct the pilot, so that's huge. The show will focus not just on the mutants, but the people around them. We can only hope that it's not called Sabretooth Puberty Rising.
Aww. Gross.
WB's Flash movie is getting rewritten. Again.
Okay.
This time it's by Joby Harold, who you may know from Awake and Robin Hood Origins coming out this year. You'd think they could do this faster, given that it's the Flash.
He runs around a lot.
He's
Yeah.
Write him running. Award season is in full swing, and science fiction looks like it's getting some of its due finally. Arrival was nominated for an Oscar, and just last night, the Producers Guild Awards, Stranger Things took home Best Episodic Drama.
That's awesome.
So guys, we're just a step closer to that sci-fi EGOT. Somebody just needs to write a hit sci-fi musical. And no, I'm not talking about Spider-Man Turn Off the Dark, which I saw and paid a lot of money to see.
Ooh, a freak like me needs company. Amazing. In anticipation of those awards, Arrival is getting re-released in theaters with 8 additional minutes. Is it new footage, interviews, explanations? I hope it's 8 more minutes of that fantastic action phone call scene.
Neil Blomkamp says the odds of his Alien movie happening are slim. So that means there's still odds, right? Slim is not 0. That means there's still odds.
Yeah.
I mean, Ripley's had worse odds.
Yeah.
Overcomes them every time.
She had a chest burster.
Look, Huggy, our new facehugger mascot, this cute little smiling facehugger,
Yep.
is excited for Blomkamp's movie.
I'd let it hug my face.
Richard Kelly reportedly wants to make another Donnie Darko movie.
Thank God.
I thought that I was going to be putting a joke here about how this is the second Gyllenhaal like taking the lead because there's 2 of them and 2 movies.
Yeah.
But as I was doing research on this, I found out that there was a Donnie Darko sequel already. See, look, I found it. It's called S. Darko.
Yep.
Did you know that was a
I
thing?
didn't know. Is he in it? Is he in this one? This old other sequel?
No, Jake Gyllenhaal's not in this movie.
Good. Yeah.
But whatever this, I guess the 3rd in the trilogy would be. Look, 18-year-old Zach is very emotionally confused by this news. It's like, yeah, more Donnie Darko. But wait, this could be terrible.
Zach, you're the only one who sees that Donnie Darko sequel image, by the way. No one else sees that.
Oh my God.
Yep. Star Wars Episode 8 named The Last Jedi. You see, that's the problem. They should have started an endangered Jedi breeding program.
It wouldn't be the last one. No, but
They wouldn't be the last one.
Yeah, but then the emperor comes in and he like takes away all the funding with an executive order.
Sure,
and...
but you have Yoda and Yaddle finally together. Star-crossed lovers. Shout out to my extended universe nerds out there.
James Cameron is developing a Terminator movie for when he gets the rights back in 2019, so plenty of time, and he's talking with Tim Miller about directing. And Cameron wants to make the film a conclusion and a reboot. That makes sense, because the timeline wasn't fucked up enough already.
What? How is the reboot and
My head
Yeah,
hurts.
I'm not sure what a conclusion reboot means.
the whole point of reboot is so you can start it back
Yeah,
up. That's
not
what a reboot.
end things, conclude them.
Look,
Here's
he's
what
been-
it's gonna be. It's going to be a film of the film crew filming the first Terminator.
Just be called Terminator.
But then
Aloha.
the Terminator shows up
Yeah.
to kill
The
James
DP.
Cameron.
The DP of the second film crew is a Terminator.
Oh, God. Lastly, Michael Bay is now officially producing a new movie called Little America, about a dystopian United States that has gone bankrupt after a Trump-like president. That's what I'm.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Make Donald Trump again.
Yeah.
After a Trump-like president must now repay its debt to China. It will supposedly, after you hear that, be a comedic dystopia.
Sure.
Described by Bay as, and I'm quoting here, sci-fun.
Ugh. Ugh.
Because, yes, the impending doom of our country is definitely sci-fun.
Well, if you can't laugh.
Yeah. Probably gonna have some pretty cool explosions, though.
Yeah, what a nice vehicle for Jack Black. I'm guessing.
All right, that's it for the news at ludicrous speed. Yeah, that was That one's going to be interesting.
Yeah.
Little America.
Little America. Tiny little explosions.
Some real quick sci-fi in real life that I had found and forgotten about.
Oh, yeah. And remembered.
Some cool. There's a cool thing that's going to be happening in March called Mind Gamers.
Okay.
It's Fathom Events is putting this thing on, and they're going to be showing this, like, they're live streaming an event to movie theaters across the country, and in each one, I don't know if it's in each one or just a lot of them, they're going to have people hooked up to a cerebral like scanner. And they're going to be measuring what their brain activity is doing as they're watching this thing, mapping it out in real time. Then by the end of the night, showing like what this is all created to like link these people.
Like the Apple.
Like the Apple.
That's a movie from the 1970s that no one's seen.
Yeah,
but it is about it's about basically America's Got Talent, except the way that they figure out if people have talent is based off of people's brain waves. Also, Devil and the God are in there as well. Don't watch it, people. It's a terrible sci-fi movie.
This is gonna be it's more heavy just on like science, and it's talking about neuroscience and the idea of collected consciousness. It's related to there were experiments where they had rats connected in the similar way, and they were able to like teach skills to one, and then the other one was able to pick up on it.
Interesting.
Yeah. So we're gonna matrix some skills into these people watching this movie.
Great. What movie?
It's called. Well, that's the thing. It's called Mind Gamers. It's like about all of this science stuff. So like you can go and watch it, and then they're also going to be like showing you what this has done with these different people.
Supposedly.
Interesting.
We'll see. More. We'll probably get more info on it as we get close to the date. It's going to be in theaters on March 28th. So stay tuned. Maybe we'll go check this out.
Yeah.
And become part of the collected consciousness.
You know what? Let's take a load off our consciousness.
We are one.
We are Legion.
We are Fathom Events. We are one.
Go see Shenmue in theaters now.
And Fathom Events banned me for the rest of my life.
Oh no.
All right, let's jump into iBoy.
iBoy.
Let's jump into it.
Okay, let's do a spoiler-free review first. So for anybody watching who hasn't seen it yet, first, without ruining any of the movie, what did you guys think of iBoy?
Take it away.
I thought it was very long. I think if this had been broken up into like 4 half-hour segments, I would have liked it a lot better. If you are someone who's familiar with like British-style television and the way they tell stories, it's very similar to like Skins and the way they do that type of teen angst, and like a lot of class warfare, and shown through the warrens or the projects that they live in. The science is bullshit.
Oh, they don't even make an attempt to explain it. Like,
no.
well, I actually give them credit for that. It's like the kind of thing where
Like,
there's no pseudoscience that could explain. So, all right. So
I think Maisie Williams kills it.
Yeah.
I think it's a role that we haven't seen her in before.
let's recap for anybody who hasn't heard of this movie.
Just give a recap.
Well, just like iBoy, it just came out. It's a Netflix exclusive movie, starring Maisie Williams as Lucy, and I wrote his name down somewhere as Tom.
It's about basically a warren, a project where there's a lot of crime happening. It happens in inner London quite a bit. A lot of lower class, poor people living there. Tom, our hero, walks in on Lucy's family getting robbed and beaten and assaulted, and he runs away to go call the police. He gets shot in the head, but
he's holding up his cell phone.
So the bullet encases his cell phone in his brain.
So basically, it hits his phone, takes chunks of cell phone into his head, but they can't get them out.
So he has
Yeah.
so he has connection to all Wi-Fi.
So he has really unclear powers
Yeah.
after that. It's just some sort of stuff he can do.
He
really
gets
no
it's
rules.
somewhere in between like Electro and Micah from Heroes.
Yeah. I was getting a lot of Micah vibes. It's
Who might be Shadow.
I saw that.
Yeah.
And then he decides because he ran away, that was his with great power becomes great responsibility. He feels bad for running away from a gun. And so he decides to become a vigilante called iBoy.
Yep. So
And basically he becomes a super internet troll.
Yeah. Very effective.
Yeah,
Like, good at getting some stuff done.
he bullied. Yeah. Well, let's not give away too much.
Yeah.
In case people do want to see it, but just like your thoughts without going into plot, and then we'll go into it deeper once we get past. We'll put up a spoiler wall.
Yeah, I thought production was good. I thought the acting was fine. I think the story has a lot of issues.
To me, yeah, it felt like a Twilight Zone-y type of story,
Yeah.
like Black Mirror. Like this might have
Sort of
been like a
Black
rejected
Mirror-y,
Black
yeah.
Mirror script.
I thought the actors were better than their material.
Yes, Maisie Williams did a great job elevating like the stuff that she was given.
Yeah, it was a really interesting, complicated role for her to play, and I think she did a good job of towing that line.
Yeah. So if you haven't seen it yet and you're looking for something, you just want to see like a piece of sci-fi that's just like a little like it has some very interesting visual effects.
Yeah.
Like it looked cool. It was shot well.
But it's kind of like YA.
Yes.
It's kind of for that audience, right?
It
Like
is.
a
It
little
is,
bit
yeah.
graphic maybe for some things, so maybe not your middle schooler or whatever, but so it's like for teenagers, right?
It's
Oh, yeah.
it's like maybe something that's like a little bit more violent, but like aimed at like a free form
I
audience.
think-
So if you like that
Yeah.
kind of stuff, like it is going to hit that point. Like it's about high schoolers and they deal with very high school issues.
Me in middle school would have loved this.
Yeah.
And they
Yeah,
do,
but your parents might not love you in middle school watching it with some of the stuff that.
My parents would love me no matter what.
Oh, my bad.
How dare you?
Sorry. I thought it was really conditional.
All right, so let's put up a spoiler warning,
Alright.
so we can just
Spoiler
jump
alert.
into it.
Also, we're diving.
Yeah. So all right. So this movie. Let's first just like talk about each one of the characters, like the major characters. Like starting with Tom, who's played by Bill Milner, who the only place that I think I've seen him before this was he played young Magneto in X-Men First Class.
Oh.
Like that's it's a small role.
Yeah.
Great.
It's like the flashbacks.
Yeah.
So he's a fairly new actor.
I liked him. I thought he was good.
Yeah, I thought he was good, too.
understated and was like interesting to watch.
Yeah, he did a good job as far as like actors. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
As far as acting goes, like he did. You're right though. He pulled. He didn't do anything crazy over the top. He
Yeah.
didn't need to.
Yeah. The main problem with him was his save the cat moment was running away and getting shot. But yeah, if a gun is pointed at you, you do run away.
I had a huge issue
Like-
with this. Everybody was like, we don't blame you, with a sort of sense of we
Yeah.
still totally blame you, you coward. But it was like a group of dudes.
There were
Pointing a
all
gun at
armed.
him.
Like the only way to help is to run out and try to call help, right?
Yeah.
There's no other thing to do.
Unless you're Jackie Chan and you're trying to save a vase, there's no way you're gonna beat 4 guys at the same time.
Yeah. So that bothered me a little bit, that everyone's response afterwards was like, oh, it's okay.
Yeah, I can buy his thinking that he could have
Yeah.
done more because like that's survivor's guilt.
Yes. But everyone's reaction to it is the not believable
Yeah,
thing.
sort of rude.
Yeah, even Lucy, I would expect her like, and she's the victim in this case
Yeah.
to be like, it's not like what could you have done?
Totally.
Yeah, but she was like, it's fine. it's fine, you're not a coward or whatever.
Yeah,
It was like
and even so, he still got shot in the head.
Yeah.
Like, so he survived and was fine or more than fine, but like, he got shot in the head. Like, what else was the result gonna be?
The gangster school bullies are not fazed by the fact that he got shot in the head and is still alive. And like, they shot him in the head and he's like talking to them and no one's freaking out.
Yeah.
He got like a scar. He
Yeah.
doesn't have like severe brain damage from
Yeah.
all that.
He has a scar, but like, I don't know. I feel like even if you're the meanest of bully in school and like think you're a hard gangster in primary school or whatever, like I think you'd still be like, I shot that guy and he's talking to me right now. I'm freaking out a little bit. I'm freaking out a little bit.
Look, man, you don't want to mess with Eugene.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Eugene looked like he was in his 40s, however,
yeah.
I will say. Like, every time there was a scene with like all the teens, I was like, Eugene, you're not passing.
Yeah.
Like,
He got held back a bunch.
yeah.
He doesn't like to talk about it.
Not
are
a
you
bright
sup-
boy.
He
How are you
should be
supposed to
like
sell-
graduating college.
How are you supposed to sell drugs to teens if you're not in high school?
True.
He's staying back on purpose.
That's why he just
Smart.
kept failing. He's like, look, this is the only thing I know how to do.
Cornered the market.
Yeah. I'm gonna be that cool guy in high school.
I've cornered the market on like cocaine, selling cocaine to high schoolers, because high schoolers are definitely really into cocaine.
The other problem I had with Tom's characterization, and we are kind of joking about it before the show, is like, to get graphic, Lucy gets raped
Yeah.
by a bunch of people, and
Lucy is played by Maisie Williams.
Maisie Williams, and she, like we were saying before, she plays like strong and broken at the same time really well in this performance. But Tom has had a crush on her for a long time, and like I would say the B story of this movie is him trying to date her, and like I say, you got to give that at least a couple years, man.
Well, I think part of it is like I agree with you to a point, but like also they make a point in the script of saying like he's the only one who came to see her since she
Which-
was attacked. So like there is some amount of truth I think to like something horrible happened to you and nobody who cares about you knows what to do, so they just don't come near you for a while, and that's awful. So I
Yeah.
can kind of see that, and like I would have liked it if still he was like still there for his friend who obviously he has a crush on, but like they didn't need a kiss at the end, maybe, or I don't know, like
Yeah.
I mean, I think in terms of like would a person in this situation do that? Probably not
Probably.
out of like
Yeah,
not
yeah.
out of the emotional state that you want
Yeah.
in a romantic moment,
Yeah.
but like out of a like, oh, this person is like helping me through one of the worst times of my life.
Yeah.
Like
Yes.
now she's becoming emotionally attached. But you're right in terms. So it's interesting that it's Maisie Williams because it like rape as is used in narratives today is under a lot of fire.
Yeah.
They're being overused as a plot device or overused to like drive a male character's storyline as opposed to the character who's actually affected and attacked. And just be having a Game of Thrones actor
Yeah,
directly
yeah.
involved, it's like, oh, she's got the script like another.
Well, she's avoided it in Game of Thrones.
Yeah, she's one of the only.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, I felt like
It made him feel like less of a hero to me. Like
iBoy?
Yeah, iBoy. It made iBoy feel like less of a hero to me.
The fact like that happened to her, or
No, that
still trying to tap that.
whether or not he is doing it on purpose, after someone goes through a trauma like that, they are not capable of making decisions. You are taking advantage of someone who is in a very fragile state, and they need a lot of time to process and take care of themselves. And like, yeah, be there for them and like be their friend and try and make them feel like they're a person again, but don't try and like don't use your mind text message to ask if she's seen anyone.
Right.
And when she says, yeah, but like it's not a romantic thing, then immediately be like, well, let's go get dinner.
Yeah, well, that's part of the trap anyway of why he's not like being super great. It's just like doing the secret identity plus also, I don't know, just cornering her with your two identities is sort of yucky. Like, ugh, that obviously a lot of superhero stuff falls victim to.
Yeah. That's called catfishing.
Yep.
Dude.
Ooh, better superhero name though. Better than iBoy. Is Catfish.
Yeah, boy. Like, who would pick that name for themselves? That was
I'm mostly disappointed that it's not spelled B-O-I. I-B-O-I.
iBoy. Yeah, I mean, at least they had the very least they called out the fact that it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yes.
I still feel like you could have used that as a throwaway. Like, what are you, iBoy? No, that's ridiculous.
But then, like,
I'm actually here. Wait, do we have ideas for what he should have been
tech
called?
Head. It's better. It's dumb, but
like
it's
it.
better.
No Kia Man.
Yeah, is he sponsored by Apple? Like, why the I? It was really strange because they did set up that was like a knockoff phone itself that he was using right at the beginning. So, it's like Chinese brand fake whatever phone. Watch out for that.
T-Mobile.
Ooh, that's better.
What else do we have? There's Verizon Man.
Broadband.
These are all American companies, right? They use T-Mobile and Verizon in
Broadband.
I think T-Mobile's over there.
Broadband is a good name.
Oh yeah, broadband.
Yeah.
I am broadband, protector of the interwebs. Why did you just call it interwebs? Broadband.
So again, like why this felt like it could have been split up is because he beats a lot of final bosses throughout the story. Like
Yeah, there's always a bigger
hashtag Team iBoy. Computer really likes the name iBoy apparently. Hashtag Team iBoy, IBOI. But like, so it's like first there's the kid in his school who shot him in the face.
Yeah.
And that's like the lower level
boss
of these drug dealers that operate in and around his housing district. And then there's like the guy with the fancy car, the Land Rover. Mm-hmm. And that's like the mid-level boss. And then there's a middle-aged man.
Yeah.
Who I don't know about you guys, I thought in that final fight, the middle-aged guy was going to have a pacemaker. And he was going to plug into that and like stop his heart.
Well, so some of the
Elman.
Yeah.
Elman.
Rory Kinnear, right?
Yeah. Who I like him. He's a good actor.
He was good. He chewed scenery real well.
Haley's like
the whole like when he showed up. Oh, so many cringy things happened.
Don't call the devil unless you expect him to pick up.
Yeah, like shoving money in the other kid's mouth. It's just like it's kind of some of it felt like it was written by like a teenage boy who like loves Tarantino or whatever. It was like, this is dark. Like,
this is how you show power. Like, yes, that is. I mean, that is like the sort of twisted thing. That,
and you
like,
don't need to announce it when you're doing that.
Yeah.
We all see what's happening.
Yeah, subtext works fine.
Yeah.
I liked him as this gangster that like is running though. He did have like that's the thing. Like the performances in it were solid.
Yeah.
Like everybody was doing what they was at the top of their game.
I would have just liked to have been established earlier. Like have him be like a councilman or like something like that. Like someone who
because it was clear that the grandmother kind of knew who he was.
Yeah, they knew each other when they were kids.
No, nothing came of that.
I thought that it was I thought like there was gonna be a twist like where he like hints like maybe I'm your dad.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh no. Like but it just like went away. I thought that for a moment I thought the grandma was gonna be Elman.
Yeah. That'd be great.
And it would be like, shouldn't have gotten involved, Tom.
She's writing her dirty novels.
What did I tell you?
And selling coke on the side.
Yeah. How do you think she funds her self-publishing?
I like how she got angry and blamed him for getting shot in the head.
Yeah.
When she was the one who kicked him out of the house at the beginning. She was like, I'm going to read dirty novels until you leave. And he was like, fine, I'll go. Get shot in the face.
Yeah, everyone had like really unreasonable responses to his like pretty much doing the right thing and being as good as you could be. Like,
What did you guys think of him using, like, his, like, way to attack back was basically cyberbullying
Yeah.
all these kids.
Like he,
Cyberbullying. Well, the like financial stuff is good and effective, like draining your bank account. That's real, ruins lives. But yeah, like video of you jerking off is.
this is a British movie, so wanking.
Excuse me.
No, they
wanking.
said jerking off
They
in the
did,
movie.
but wanking.
Yeah. I mean, it was effective. Like, it does feel like something a high schooler would do.
And right.
Yeah, and
Like,
right.
I agree.
Exactly.
I agree with Haley's assessment that it feels like someone watched Boondock Saints too many times and then
Right?
wrote
Well
their.
then, and like I
Their
think,
sci-fi
Yeah.
version.
and they were really careful not to have him actually kill anybody, right? Throughout the
Yeah.
as we're going along, but like I think the car thing could have resulted in some deaths. Like
Yeah, easily.
when you fill up the car, so like it didn't, but like could have.
I think this movie, where it is successful, is it is really successful in setting up this kind of world, like the British inner city world. I think they do a good job, and I think the thing I like about Ellman, I like his speech about I used to look out these same windows and see this same thing, and about how a lot of those kids, his friend who betrays him says like, I thought you were the one who was going to get out of this. Like this idea that all of these people who are living in these housing tenements are people who usually like turn to drugs, selling drugs and crime because there isn't a lot out there for them. And I think they did a really good job of setting that world up and establishing that world. I think their narrative was not very good, but I think their world building was very successful.
Yeah, I like the idea of like he gets these powers, but he doesn't like I'm gonna solve world hunger or like take down the dictator. It's just like I'm in my little like world, and he's only trying to affect his world.
Yeah.
It didn't need to be broader scope. Like that's the problem with a lot of movies today, like especially in science fiction, that the scale is so big, it's hard to connect to characters.
Yeah.
So I did appreciate that they kept the scale that low. I think where the movie faltered was it was trying to do something bigger with its characters. I wonder if this would have benefited from being like an episode of something like a Black Mirror where they were limited to 45 minutes, like have the movie.
Yeah.
And then like you basically just have to like run through this storyline.
I think if you got rid of Land Rover guy's story, this movie is like his entire segment.
The Kurtz?
Just the guy who has the
middle guy?
Yeah, the middle guy.
Middleman, drug dealer, middle manager.
yeah. If you get rid of him and it just goes high school bully to Ellman, I think the story is more compact
It's a little
and
muddled.
easier to understand. I like how he had to look up how to hack computers on the internet. That was one of his things. Is he has a little bit of Matrix stuff where like he learned how to take out a guy by punching him, and he looked up how to hack computers while hacking all the computers at the same time.
Yeah, I really had an issue with the Matrix, like learning how to punch someone, because it's not like you've learned how to punch someone. It's like you've immediately watched a video about how to punch someone. Doesn't mean you're good at punching. Like,
Yeah, that, and then he has his like his psychic scream power.
Oh yeah,
Is that what that was?
So okay, I want to move into because like as we always do with sci-fi movies, we talk about the science of the movie.
Yeah.
And like it was, for better or worse, what this movie basically did is like introduce this concept and then offered no explanation
And no rules.
in an intentional
no
way.
rules.
Yeah.
But that was where it was fine at first. Like when it's like we're not going to explain how it created this power.
Yeah.
It's like with quantum neutrino fields. He
saw that lead poisoning from the knockoff phone in his brain.
Yeah. It's in his head. Now he has powers. Great.
He has no Kia bites.
But they never go into like what the limits are of his power. So when he
Doesn't
like
seem to be any.
did an electromagnetic like explosion, it was like, whoa, wait, where like he had a passive power,
Yeah.
and then it became like very aggressive.
Also, the music was an homage to Akira in that moment. And I was like, oh man, is he going to mutate? Like, is he going to become like a weird flesh beast?
Oh my god.
He didn't, but it would have been cool.
Well, yeah, I thought it was kind of unclear, like especially that scene where he
Where they're kicking him?
where he burns a bunch of the drugs and then they converge on him and they're beating him and then he presumably makes people's phones give off a high-pitched sound, or is that what... I didn't think of that either. The person I was watching it with was like, I think that's what's happening, but it doesn't affect him. It's not like he got great immune to noise ears, or, you know, like, I just didn't understand why that worked as a out of that situation.
This is me trying to explain that. I was like, okay, he's connected to Wi-Fi. It's a signal. It's around us all the time. We're right now have Wi-Fi running through our bodies right now. I was like, he's shortening the distance between the waves and making it like a high frequency signal.
Wow, that was way more complex.
But I think yours is correct. I think he was just making the phones make a noise.
But it didn't hurt him, though, you know?
Yeah.
Like, everyone else, it's blinding pain.
It was one of those sounds that can only be heard by people
Gangsters.
over
Yeah.
30 or something.
Like gangsters.
Yeah.
Well,
Gangsters have a slightly different earlobe, and so...
Mike,
right.
you hear that?
Well, the good thing about setting it in England is, like, everything in London is CCTV, so there is tons of,
Yeah.
like, opportunity to have camera on everyone. So, like, that kind of worked for me in a way, you know?
I did like when they kept it simple and small. I really liked the idea of him like reviewing, being able to see the camera phone footage and like detectiving his way, like, oh, I see that bracelet, so that guy was one of those people. I see those shoes, that guy was one of those people. I thought that was really interesting. And when they kept it small, it was more interesting for me.
Serious question for I can tell that you guys are like big criminals. Why is everyone in movies always filming their crimes? Like, don't film the horrible rape of an underage girl.
I was thinking about this because I was
think-
trying to figure out why.
I think that's a good rule.
Good rule.
It's
Don't rape underage girls.
fair rule. Yeah. But if you're going to...
Don't film it.
Don't.
I think that it was in order to prove that they had done it
Yeah.
to their boss.
Yeah.
Because Elman asked
They
him.
never
But also,
explained
real dumb,
that.
a great way to get caught for your crimes.
Yeah, they never explain it, and I think they needed to because it's such an insane thing to do.
Yeah.
But
I
I'm
kind of bought it that these guys were kind of cocky, like guys who ruled the school.
Until she has him at gunpoint
Yeah.
at the end, and they're like, are so sorry, and like feel bad because they grew up together. You know?
Well, again, I thought that was a great part of the world. I thought that was a great moment for her, but
Yeah.
also a great part of the world building, where it's like, yeah, these guys are criminals, but they were all like kids growing up together. Like these are all people who like walked to school when they were toddlers. Like I thought that was a really good way of showing what that housing segment is like what it's like to be in one of those in Great Britain.
I agree, like to a point, because when they've got her tied to a chair, and they like one or two of them really don't want to kill her, right? Like,
Yeah.
and they like feel badly about it, which I get, but like,
Eugene.
where was that hesitation when you were all
Yeah.
assaulting her?
Oh, I agree.
You know, like I almost think that's worse because then you have to keep living with it afterwards. If you kill someone, then they're dead. But I guess you can get it more likely you have to dispose of a body. So.
You heard it first. Haley says murder is okay. Welcome to the panel, Murder and Haley.
Welcome to the panel. Jesse, watch your back.
I don't know, but it seemed like they suddenly grew consciences after everyone
Yeah,
already treated her horribly.
assaulted her.
Yeah.
In a
No, those guys deserve
life-changing way.
to rot.
They do. Or have their pockets get really hot.
who knew that
Third degree burns on your upper thigh, guys.
Who knew all of the bad guys use Samsung Galaxies?
It was all an S7 warning video.
At the end, it just comes up. Throw away your Samsung Galaxy S7.
S7 Note or whatever, the one with the exploding batteries.
This has been a PSA brought to you by Netflix. All right, so any other last minute thought, like as we wrap out?
If you want to
iBoy?
see a story that is similar like this, that's broken up into series, that is like a British superhero / skins show. Watch The Misfits. It's on Hulu.
Yeah.
It is a fantastic show that is about like teenagers who are given superpowers and they don't use them for good. It's like what would
they're all
happen?
like delinquents.
Yeah, what would happen if delinquent teens were given superpowers? And they're not like evil; they're just teens.
Yeah,
like they just want to do what they do. It's really good
Fair.
and it's super funny. I can't recommend Misfits enough. So that is my final thought on this movie: is go watch
Go watch Misfits.
a better series.
What would you rate this one? How many out of how many broken cell phones?
I thought you were gonna say hot upper thighs.
How many hot upper thighs?
How many burnt thighs would you give this movie?
I give this a 5 out of 10.
All right.
I didn't hate my experience watching this. I did not like Passengers made me upset the entire time. This I did not hate. I was engaged a little bit. I like Maisie Williams. I thought the acting was fantastic. Everything else was garbage though. So 5 out of 10.
Oh, yeah. I think I would echo 5 out of 10. I actually think I like Passengers better than this. Boy, Maisie Williams is great. The cast is good, but like, it was kind of dumb.
I definitely would liked Passengers more than this. Although they both have there is a similar issue in terms of like treatment of its relationship.
Yes.
Which is fine. Which, as a rule, I like that. I like some. I don't want everything to be perfectly moral. That's what makes it interesting to watch. Like,
Yeah, it just needs to be addressed.
Yeah,
Like,
it
that's
needs
the
to be
thing.
addressed and addressed properly.
Yeah.
I felt like Passengers, while it addressed like the difference was Passengers addressed it and then
Threw it away.
then like chose to ignore what it had established and dealt with.
Yeah.
To fit its ending.
Yeah.
This I just felt like they could have done more to. I mean, they did a good job handling it. Like Maisie Williams, like mainly on the back of Maisie Williams' performance.
Yeah.
Like she really did have that. Like she's being strong through terrible things, and she was able to bring that to the character. And that was, I would give it, like I would say 5.5 out of 10.
generous.
Burnt thighs. 5.5.
Like a little more, like a D-. Like it just gets that D-.
So out of 30, it has 15.5 burnt thighs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Collectively, we've given it
collective-
15.5 burnt thighs.
Upper thighs.
All right. Well, I think that'll do. Oh, well, we got to ask ourselves, what would Neil deGrasse Tyson
Seeing is not believing.
say about this movie?
Oh, he'd say, "Don't get shot in the head."
He would say, why did you force me to watch this?
He would say, the infection you would get from a cell phone entering your brain would kill you.
At the very least...
Cell phones are so dirty. If a cell phone entered your stream, like you would die. It's so dirty.
At the very least, you would have permanent brain damage.
Yeah.
He
And
seemed fine.
Like he was like pretty much himself.
Well,
Like
sometimes he was like, ugh.
Also, he never has to pay a phone bill again. Did you consider he can just text everyone for free?
Yeah. Pretty nice. Hey, Hey, he's never gonna get a ticket for using his phone while he's
So
driving.
true.
He's got the ultimate hands free.
He may never get pulled over at all because the powers are, sort of vaguely anything.
Yeah, he can hack into engines.
Right.
His power was just Bluetooth. Better name.
Bluetooth.
Oh.
Which is the name of a Viking. Did you guys know that?
Bluetooth?
Yeah, that's
Ooh.
the symbol for Bluetooth are the runes of the Viking Bluetooth.
Dude, you just blew my mind.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
That
Guys,
makes, as soon as you said that, I'm like, that makes so much sense.
Yeah.
Would it have to be Bluetooth boy?
Bluetooth boy, B-O-Y.
All right. Well, that's gonna do it for Sci-Fi Weekly. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Be sure to let us know in the comments what you thought of iBoy. Do you completely disagree with us? Did you love this movie? Did you hate this movie more than apparently this panel did? But we want to know what your thoughts are, so let us know in the comments below or tweet us. Next week, we will be back reviewing The Space Between Us, and we're going to have a special guest joining us in studio. So stay tuned, and we'll be announcing that later in the week. Awesome. It comes out on Friday. That's the movie starring Asa Butterfield about a kid who was born on Mars and then comes back to Earth. But yeah, that's going to do it for Sci-Fi Weekly. I've been your host, Zach Wilson. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at @ZachWilson. Hayley, thank you so much for joining us. I'm looking forward to having you on this panel going forward.
Hey, thanks. Me too. I am Hayley O'Connor. Once again, that is at Hayley O'Connor on Twitter and at Hayleywood on Instagram.
I am Jesse Klein. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at JessKlein1. That's JSSKLEIN, the number 1. Also, remember to tweet at us and tell us your sci-fi moment of the week. We didn't get to it today, but please let us know anything that pops up. Watching a rerun of Star Trek was mine that I had, if you asked. You can see me doing comedy all over Los Angeles. You can find my comedy team, Haymaker, at Haymaker Comedy on YouTube.
Yeah. One more plug, because I did a sci-fi sketch that came out this week.
Sure.
Called Inception, Spin the Bottle. It's on my Twitter. It's also on YouTube at Turncoat Comedy. So guys, that has been Sci-Fi Weekly, the show where we're only one lab coat away from being real scientists.
From producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire Popcorn Talk Network, we would like to thank you for tuning in. For questions or comments, be sure to visit popcorntalk.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of the Popcorn Talk Network.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of the Popcorn Talk Network or its owners or principals.